There we go. Oh wait, I don't want that one. I want to do this one. Oops. That's a bad face I had on. I have to put on a different face. Should I turn that light off? Maybe so. Let me go do that. I was going to make a basket here. All right, let's see if that's better. We do it all for you. There we go. All right. So here, oops. I have to remember I can't put my feet on the crossbar. This table I've got here, this is a patio table. All right, so I thought I wasn't sure what to do, but my daughter wants an egg basket. So you know what these are, right? These are those, for your pastry. Well, you see what I've done here. I've pulled it all open, and I'm going to use this instead of using a frame. Usually when you make an egg basket, you would make one circle and a second circle, and then you would put them like that, one here and one there, on like this way and this way, okay? And then you would do a, what is that called? A God's eye? I don't like that word because I don't think God's eyes look like that at all. This is crooked. Oh, look at that. This whole thing wiggles. This may be a problem. See, it's not straight. This has to go like that. Huh, so I'll have to tighten that, I guess. Oh, it doesn't look like it's on here very tightly at all. Look at that. It's turning too freely. Is it all turning? Probably. Let's just check. Well, if in doubt, use your best scissors. Oops. Or you could use your crummy ones, or you could use a proper screwdriver. This was not tight enough. This is the problem here. Okay. Oh, let's see if it's still crooked. It's just going to be a crooked basket. It's because that's the way I want it, right? Because my daughter this is for my daughter, Scarlett. She's very particular about things. So I wasn't sure what to use. I thought, should we use birch bark? Not gonna happen. Hey, I just got an email that I'm live. So now we got a few possibilities. We could make strips out of this, but it's not in really perfect shape, of course. How long do I want this to last? I could use this, which is nice and strong, but wouldn't it make a beautiful basket? Like a beautiful birch bark basket? But there's birch bark everywhere. I could use this. So I'm going to need pieces that go, the best thing is if you have one piece and you go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. That's the best. But if you have to, like this would fit, right? I could cut strips here, which would go one way and then back the other way. And now this would look nice. This would look nice. Design there on the outside of the basket, but without using it all as one piece, you wouldn't be able to do that. Like you'd have to cut it, this whole area, and that would have to be one piece, which could be, I could do that down the center. Would you like that? Should we try that? Or, let's not get ahead of ourselves, Nancy. I like to get ahead of myself here. Or we have, I just soaked a little bit of cedar bark. See, now this is also, now what would you think of a basket like this? See, this would go up and back, Or what about if we combine the two? What if we put this on the bottom and then put this on either side of it, right? Or, so I have to soak some more of those if I'm going to use them. Now, what about when I get to the top? You know, when you get to the top, jeepers, would you stop? I don't know if that messes things up for you, but what about a rim? Like when we get to the top, we'll probably want to make a rim. So this piece here is too short for a rim. What about this one? Ooh, look, that works almost. That would be a nice rim, wouldn't it? Except it doesn't come all the way around. Now this one's probably the same size. As you can, this has not been soaked. This has been soaked for about 5 minutes. Let's see what this one does. Oh, that's also too short. Okay, so we have some choices here. So we couldn't use these for rims. We also have, what else do we have in this basket? So I have some freshly peeled willow bark, which was not ready. And so you wouldn't be able to make really good pieces out of it. This is just from the other day. I have to go back down there. Maybe today's a good day. Wow, look at that. Let me show you. Come on. Gotta turn you around. Where's that thing? Look at that. Where's that moon? Can you see the moon? There it is. Isn't that nice? This is my workshop room. Right now it's full of plants, but soon, one day, it'll be for basket making workshops. All right, let's turn this around. Good. Okay. So, I kind of, let's see what else we have here now. Now this is some more birch bark. I mean, not birch bark, this is cedar bark. It can be trimmed up and made to be the right size and all that. And this is pine bark. Isn't that interesting? I found some red pine logs and I took the bark off them. I bet she'd like it to be made out of pine bark. And these are long. Okay, I'll take this out. I'll put this in. So that was another one I was just longer. It was another project I was doing, as you can see. Well, that one just fits. That could be part of the rim. There we go, one rim. All right, so we're going to put this pine bark in. I don't know how long it takes for pine bark to soften. Let's see. We have more cedar bark. I like this. This is, I mean, it's really rustic looking, isn't it? Wouldn't that be a beautiful basket? So I could, you know, there's this other kind of thinking where everything should come from Michaels or looking like it came from Michaels. But personally, I've never really, I think I've been in Michaels twice. I think I was looking for stained glass stuff, and they don't have stained glass stuff there. But, I guess if you live in a city and that's your only access, yeah, I guess you can't just go take a strip off of bark off of trees if you live in an apartment in New York City. Probably you don't want to either. Okay, so let's make a container of water here. So that one's in. There's enough in this one. Hey, you know, I could just throw this in the bathtub. I do have water in that bathtub. Or Willem has water in that bathtub. For some reason, it has to do with her preventing being without water or something. In case you're watching this years from now, there's a coronavirus going on and the whole world is shut down, and so everybody is in their houses, supposedly, doing, except for the nursing and doctoring, those are serious stuff. Anyway, but otherwise, people are all in their homes. Hey, look, I did that and it almost fits in that water. Let's just add a little more water to it. And then we'll make it float. Okay, look at this. Now, you saw how long ago I stuck this in here, right? Like, you can go back and see exactly, but this is already, I wasn't sure how well pine bark would soften, but this is really soft already. It's only been a minute. Look at this. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so I suppose it should go in there longer because it isn't really ready. But look at how supple it is. I mean, it's already like, it's really nice. It's like, Okay, so what are we going to do then? What do we decide on? Pine bark and cedar bark rim? Should we put this strip in the middle? You feel it. When you feel it, and the whole idea of softening is so that you can bend it. And so when it's like this right here on the end is very pliable, right? Look at that. Very, very pliable. So that's definitely ready. And actually most of it's getting ready. But you want to be able to bend it back and forth and then come all the way over and go right back down. So that's a 90-degree angle, right? So you've got to have it so it can bend easily because you want to keep it, you want to make it tight. So the reason you don't use fresh bark, generally, like if you have willow or something with a peel on it, I think the bark is probably all right. But the reason you don't use fresh most of the time is because things shrink. Anyway, this is kind of exciting that this is almost ready. See, meanwhile, this is still quite tough. This other one here, see? But it'll be ready in 5 minutes. 5 minutes. So, why don't we try preparing some of this? See what we're going to need. So you have to have your homemade, hand-woven cloth on the table. Do you know what I did on this beautiful cloth that I took so much time? I did my pine sap. Can you believe that? No. Well, some who know me would say, yes, definitely, I can believe that. My daughter would say that. Yep, I can believe it. So this is really kind of an interesting bunch. Where does it start? Where does it stop? Every time I turn it around, it goes a different way. There we go. Okay. All right, so it's not ready in the middle here. So we have to, let's see what we can do here. Okay, this piece is pretty good. So we'll put this back in. This is also very good at the end there. Anyway, let's put the rest back in. So, now we're going to need some straight strips, right? So we get out our handy dandy fingers and we can cut the bark, which let's just do. What size do we want our strips? Let's see, this all goes against the grain. If we pull a little bit off the edge, I wonder if it'll straighten the whole grain up or if it'll just wreck it. Yeah, this is really thick bark, so it's going to come off in many, many layers. Now it's starting to fray there, you see that? But what you can do, you can cut it, and then you can take this on the end and you can go down in it, and then you can peel it like that, making sure that a thicker side gets more pull. The thinner side doesn't. Otherwise it'll rip up. All right, let's see what we can do here. So I'm just gonna see if I can tidy this up a bit. Uh-oh. You don't want to quit sleep now. I know. Some people watch me because it puts them to sleep. Is that a compliment? Alright, so the edges are really crooked. Let's see what we can do about straightening up the edges. Let's get our straight edge here. Take that up. I'll put it on the table. Turn you down a little bit so you can see. You really can't see very well, but we do what we can. Okay. Alright, so I'll line it up here. It's interesting because the bark itself is bending, you see? So I should just score it, right? Lay it down on the top of it. Like so. And I will now get my cutting device. And this is my wonderful table I got from the dump, but which I can cut the heck out of if I feel like it. See, now look at this. See how these are coming apart? Okay, so if you hold them with your thumbs together, okay, and then you're going to pull the heavy one away, the thick one. Boy, this is hard on my wrist. I'm having a hard time with my wrist lately. I know, you all needed to know about that. Alright, so if you pull the thin side, this is what happens, right? But I don't care because I'm going to just put this back on here if I can. See, I can never make decisions about what to do with something like this. It's crooked and I don't want to throw any of it away. And so it's kind of a little challenge here. This is my pine bark. I mean pine sap. So we'll just draw it. We shall mark it. Now this is where somebody zooms up the video, right? But if you're doing it with me at the same time, where's my line? I'm just going to cut it straight. It's very leathery, this pine bark, very leathery. So you could probably make book covers. I guess if you wove a book cover, wouldn't that be neat? You'd weave like this flat piece. That would be a book cover. So how wide should these be? We could make them any width. We could make them this wide. But the thinner they are, the tighter your weave is going to be. You'd think that you've covered more area if you use like 3 big pieces, that it's going to be better. But really, it's going to be, you know, you're going to have your stuff is going to go between the 2 layers, because one layer is going to be sitting here, one layer's on that side. And see, there's always going to be a little bit of a gap. So things can get ½ inch, you think? All right, let's do ½ inch. Also known as 1 centimeter. So have you made baskets before? Sounds like you know. Alright, that's nice and straight. So, but when we get there, you see, now we're going to have 2. So we'll have to make it that wide. Or half that wide. Carry on, finish this up here. There's so much throwaway, you know, when you do this. And it takes so long to get off the tree. it's always such a shame to have to cut any and get rid of it. So with this, you know, you think, oh, well, what are you going to do with that? You can use this, actually, because it's cedar bark. If you use something like this and you cut it really thin, you see, when we're doing one of my workshops, you're going to learn all kinds of things that are not related to what we're doing. All right. One day I want to have workshops up here. One day. Alright, so I'm going to show you this. I have the window open and it's not very warm outside. Alright, so you can use this for rope. You know, like you can tie knots with this. Yeah, anyway, and you can lace with it. Alright, so, you know, those are good. Where do we go now? Here we are. So, we make this other side straight and then we'll know what we're working with, how much room we've got to. Also, if you don't have many, uh-oh, this is getting narrower. If you don't have many, if you don't have much bark and you need to have more of it, the more pieces you cut it into, you know, you have space between every piece, and so it'll go farther. Just in case you wanted to know that. All right, well, I'm going to just carry on with this going right up this way now. All right. So there's our first piece, which is rather crooked. Totally rather crooked. Let's see what it looks like sitting on the table. Anyway, I could spend a long time doing this. I think this is what adds to the time it takes to make a basket, is the amount of preparation time. But that's also the most creative time, don't you find? It'll never be done. Never, never, never. Oh, yes, it will, Nancy. Okay, there. We have one piece. So now we'll start. Or should we make it half that width? That's probably good. Okay, so now we're going to start anywhere. So I would say when you're doing the edges, actually, let's start at the beginning. At the corners, this is where you're going to need your God's eye stuff. Or you could just start, you know, you dip it in and kind of lock it in place somewhere there. Okay? And then you're going to go back. Can you see how this is working out? I can do it backwards. Wouldn't that be good if I could do it backwards? Now, I have to go back down like that. That's okay though, isn't it? But you see, I think that first piece should be a little longer there because it leaves a little gap on that end. I mean, this was just the tuck in, right? But now I need another tuck in. A tuck in for the tuck in. I just want it to come out enough that, you know, I can clip it later. Now, when you're weaving, it's important that you push it into place after every single time. Don't weave back and forth and then think you're going to push it into place. It doesn't work well. And so You know, the straight edge I've been using, the real purpose of that, see, now let me show you this. When you do this and then try and pull it tight, well, sometimes it'll work, but after a while, what you're going to do is you're going to take your straight edge and you're going to bang on it so that it's, or a mallet or whatever you use. See how nice that looks when you get it in there tightly? So something really thin actually can look a lot better than something fat, because you can really get right in there with this. Now, if you were doing something and you want to make sure it doesn't separate, well, that's not relative to this, relevant. Alright, so you can let this lay flat, let it be free, or you can tuck it in. Depends. Do you want to do some more? You know, this seems like a really good thickness. I'm thinking I want to just do the whole thing out of this. This is so pretty. Make a nice basket, won't it? You know, this is going to be harder to, you know, look at this. Whatever. Where's that other little piece we had? Piece. Now this is, we're using pine bark, you know. I've never anywhere heard of using pine bark. I hope you know that. This is, I search everywhere on the internet for different things to use to make my baskets. Different materials that will work well. Okay, so this is a good way to hold your basket. You put it on your lap with the stuff facing you, you know, and then you just work on it. But I'm going to do it backwards so you can see it. So I'm just going to overlap these. I'm going to overlap them a long way because I don't want them separating eventually. Oh, what did you say? What did you say? Someone spoke. Yeah, thin pieces are much better, aren't they? So you saw, I mean, those things are still in the water. They're going to really be way ready. But now, you see, it's getting a little farther apart there. So usually when you're doing this and you need more stakes, you know, you put them in there because these are going to be pretty far apart if this is the thickness of the weave, of the thickness of my stuff, because those are going to be long openings. But we'll just carry on and see how it goes, because if it doesn't work, you know what we can do? And who cares if we're online making a permanent video about it? If it doesn't work, we can take it out. We could throw it away. We say, well, that didn't work. Or we can reuse all of our good stuff. Okay, so that's one side. So now we'll do the other side, because that's the way you do an egg basket. One side and then the other. Alright, let's take another really thin piece here. So you can use this stuff for rope. I have videos there on how to make cordage, which is rope. Anchoret taught us. You take like a gladiolus, gladiolus probably work, or I don't know why my wrist is so bad. It's up here in the top. It's not in the carpals. It's up in the top. I broke it once, and I think it's, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm hoeing. I've been trenching. All right. Well, there's a piece. This is kind of thick in the middle. It's not very wet. Now, if you have a squirt bottle with you, you can just spritz it. I have one. don't know where it is. No, I don't. It's too fat in the middle, but that's right, whatever. So we'll start it again. Remember how we start? Just lay it in place. Go back and forth and back and forth. Or you can just start right here at the very edge if you'd like. And then you do your back and forth. And try to pay attention to your weaver. Make sure that it's not twisting. Okay, now remember, what do you do next? Now you pull it right down as hard as it'll go. And then you turn it over. You make a perfect turn. Now if your stuff is not wet enough, it'll crack right there. And then you have to start over with, I mean, it just makes a whole lot of trouble. You have to add in a good piece there or something or other. I hear a woodpecker out there hammering away. Such an interesting time, isn't it? To think that the whole world is going through the very same thing you are. Very strange. Nobody in the world goes through what I go through. I have a separate individual life, you know? But now everybody is at home. Like caregivers, like Mary Jane's a caregiver. And this is her life, right? You just can't go to the store. You can't just go shopping. You can't just go for a walk in the park. She's a caregiver. She has to stay at home all the time. And she can rush out for little bits, you know, or take them with her. But it's not an easy job. And it's kind of, now this is sort of not laying flat, right? You see that? Can you see that? I don't know. You get a better background to see things against. There. I'll put my bib on. You can see better. Now, that's going to break. Okay, the way you soften birch bark is not water, but it's heat. I guess if you put it in hot water, it works. But generally, water makes birch bark curl. So what you don't want to do is make it curl. So I'm stretching this while I do it to make it kind of lay down flatter so it doesn't leave those little folds every time. So after you get up to where your spaces are a little farther apart, then you can, now what you can do here, you can tuck these ends in. Just, you know, just tuck them right down in the hole. Find a hole. There are many holes. Just find one. Any hole will do. I was watching one of these newscasters who is working from home, and he's doing it from he's making his videos from the upper room, his attic room. And at the very end of the video, the children came streaming into the room. I suppose it was pre-planned, right? But the children came, these two little children, so cute and so little. They just came streaming into the room and running and screaming right through, and then they ran right out again. I bet their mom was outside coaching them. Or maybe not, but I imagine the door was probably, I think opening the door might have been beyond there. Whatever. So this here, you see here how this one is, it's going a longer distance, and already, you know, it's not as good. So we'll use something thicker now. Wider, I mean. How wide shall we go? So we'll just, are we ready for the big ones? You see, you still have too much curves for something too thick. Well, let's just make this a little bit thicker than the last one. How about a centimeter? See, we've got another layer here coming off. Oh, be careful, be careful. Okay. So my next layer is now about 1 centimeter. And very crooked. Crooked might not really matter though, will it? See how one side is tight and the other side is kind of floppy? Huh. That's because it came off a tree. Alright, let's see if this is too big. So I'll start off with this little bit here. We'll just put it, you know, go in and out, and then we'll stick it down somewhere. Maybe with that other one. Should probably stick it to the inside, right? You don't want things showing up on the outside. There you go. So we'll stick it through on the inside, and all those little pieces will get cut off later. Now hold on to it. When you pull here, you don't want it to pull out. This is really cool because you can see through it. You need to see what I'm doing here. See how nicely it turns backwards? Isn't that great? So this is pine bark. It's the inner bark. Like if you start with pine bark, where did that chunk go? Roll on the floor. This is what it looks like when you first harvest it. Well, after it's dried. Look, a piece. See, this isn't going to lay down very flat at all. That's going to have all those little holes in between. But I can twist it. I mean, I can pull it further like that. I think I don't like that, though. I think I'm going to go back. I'm going to make it thinner. Narrower, I mean. So we'll make it about that width there. Okay. Let's go back here. And we'll narrow it up. Of course, by the time I get this far, it might be okay to be that wide. I don't know. Let's just narrow it all up. You see how supple this bark is? This bark is amazing. I mean, it's even better than cedar bark. So when you harvest bark, you want the inner bark. Alright, so there we go. Now it's about, what is that, 3/8 of an inch? So you hold it against yourself and you work and you pull it towards yourself, but then nobody can see. See, see how it's not laying flat anymore? It really doesn't like going around those corners. I'm going to make it thinner because then it'll lay flatter. I really liked it before. I think this whole piece is just too big at the moment. So, I'll cut it in half, all the way up. So what's that, 1/4 inch? But it's getting narrower. Narrower. That's all right. We'll just use it. And if it doesn't work, we'll have to stop. Okay. So we'll tuck this away again. Oh, we'll just stick it there. That's easy enough. And then we'll start weaving back and forth just like we did before. Now, you know, sometimes this bark seems to be pretty much the same on both sides. I suppose if you really get intent with it, you can find that it's not. You know, if you stick it in like that and just stick it in and start weaving with it like that, then you're going to end up with not going to go the right way, right? You're going to be skipping a line. So you got to weave it and then go tuck it in after, or something, you know. But it's not going to be. You can't weave it so it's proper in the next row, because otherwise, then you see that you just have to tuck, you know, do something like that. This is just one is going one way, one's going the other way, and I just pulled it down tightly. Okay, and this then over and under. Make sure you don't skip your over and unders. Make sure that you pay attention. It's really easy to skip one, especially if you are adding something in and it's going part way, because then part way your weave works and the other half doesn't. Okay? Now this is getting a little more. This is getting a little more. You see that? It's a little hard to bend around the corner. I mean, not hard to bend, but it's not. It's not as soaked as the other one was. This is when you would spritz it. But it's all right now. Okay, so now you ended it here. So your next piece, you're going to start it and you're just going to go exactly where you went on your last piece for part of the time. Tuck it in somewhere. And then carry on, so it's now hidden behind there. You see there's two of them now. This is for my daughter, Scarlett. She's a wonderful daughter. She's the one child in my family that really enjoys spending time with me. She invites me over for tea. She's been in Europe for 12 years, and her grandparents were English, so tea time, you know, her dad, my ex, it was, there, see now, I like this. I think this is going to work out pretty well. So I ran out of weaver there, so I'm just going to put another one. This looks like it needs to be soaked. And this is drying out a little bit. Pretty thin down there. I probably shouldn't use this one. But you know what? Because it's so thin, it'll be able to squish up. So you don't need, your word's wrong there. You don't need your or anything for the strips. Is it because the weaves? Yeah, you don't have to lock them in or anything. I mean, you do lock them in by sticking them down. And then if everything is tight, it'll all stay. But if you get a big loose weave, then everything could fall apart. Okay, so we're going to cut this one. It's kind of ratty on the edge here already. It's pretty thick down here, so I think I'll just separate it like this, you see? See how easily that's, oh, it's getting too thin. So you pull the other side away from it. And look, it thickened up a bit. Anyway, I'm not using that piece anyway. What difference does it make? My kids used to say that. What difference does it make? Did your kids say that to you? What difference does it make? I think they used to say that anyway. I'm keeping on making these pretty small. Maybe this is a 1/4 inch now. Now, a lot of times, a lot of egg baskets that people make, and the ones I've made before, the layers don't, this is really thick here. Very interesting. I could have thinned that. Anyway, see how much thicker that is. thin, thick. All right. Shall we go on this side now? Well, we're going to carry on going here because we're sort of on a roll. So I'll put this in. I'll stick it in down in there, and let it lock when I work it. Hi guys, 6 of you watching. You know, I was making a Facebook video the other day, and it showed like the name of people when they showed up to start watching, and it's like, it really freaked me out. It's like, I felt exposed. I felt like I was making a video to the whole world. Anyway, now that is pretty thick everywhere. This should probably be thin, but I don't want to thin it because it's probably not thick enough to make 2. It's like leather right there, though. Look how thick that is. Good morning, Melody. Yes, and you can make it out of newspaper. I mean, you got this in your drawer, right? If you don't do baking. But now I suppose people are baking more because, you know, of course, with this coronavirus thing. I'm going to bring this all the way over to there because you don't want your ends to be too short. That's a big problem. When your ends are too short and your basket's getting old, things will start to fall apart. So you need to have your ends the right length. Now see how this is filling right in. See how thick it is in there? They're not laying flat too much. That is a little problem, I suppose. But maybe if you twist them at the things, maybe that would help them. You know, you could start that. You could start twisting them every time you go. Because that would be better. Next strip. You see now, if I had cut all of my strips to a 1/2 inch at the beginning, of course this is a premier basket. I've never made, every basket I make is not like any other basket I've ever made. Because baskets just don't want to be like other baskets. I don't use those store-bought stuff, raffia, not raffia, I will use raffia, but I don't really like to. But, so does that make it okay, because I don't like to? See, if it's too thick, you have to twist it like that. I don't know if I want it that thick. I don't know if I want to twist it. I don't think it looks so good. Let's try it thin again. It's more like weaving a, hey, did you see my rug I've been weaving? Out of, bulrushes, round reeds. I could tell you the name of the reed if I remembered it, but I don't remember it. It's in my book, so I know just where to find it. And when we're in Grandma's cottage together, we can't be in Grandma's cottage together. You know that. Because I don't have good enough cell service down there to have a video on. Okay. I find this coronavirus is very interesting how people are reacting. Religious people, it makes them think about God and about promises, and it's interesting, you know, we don't really have a lot of occasion to think about what the Lord thinks about what's going down on the earth. Like, if you watch the news, like, people aren't really concerned about what he thinks. But, which way did I start? And which way did I end? Oh, this is part of it that's not very well. Alright, so we'll put this behind here and trap it. Actually, we won't. We'll come back to here and lock it in place. That's really important, you'll find later when you do it. Alright, and then we'll come like this. I think I'll lock that in place by that. I'll just twist it around there. Is that too awful? Is that allowed? Can you do that? It's so long that it's going to undo, and then you're going to have this piece that's hanging there. And trying to fix a basket that's a bit started to undo is pretty darn hard. Definitely good that they're narrow. I like that. I think I like that. So I've locked this one here. It's behind there. Locked it in. Same around that end. So now this is a good tight basket that, you know, you're not going to get any eggs falling out of it. Right? Let me cut off these little bits inside for you so you get a better idea of what it's going to be like. Well, whatever. You'll see it eventually when it's all done. You'll see me carrying it around. Actually, you won't, because I'm going to give it to my daughter. Auntie Sweet. Just trying to tuck that in there. Get rid of it. Okay, now, oh, this is very thin. Let's go back to this side. Isn't that cute? What do you think she'll think? I think it's going to be good. And it's pine bark. Like, she probably will have no idea how important this is. This is the only pine bark I've ever found in my whole life. I paid a lot of money once for a pine bark basket. The Cherokee Indians use it. So when you do this bark, you take it and you have to bend it backwards like this, and you let the crispy stuff come off. You see, like that. And then you have this big chunk of crispy, crunchy stuff, but then here you see how it's all bark on there. So you do this. And there's your hard, unbendable stuff. And then below it is your wonderful bark. And so there's your bark, and this part has still got the stuff on it. So let's see what we can do here. No, it's not. I think it has to be soaked more. You're supposed to do this right when you take it off the tree. You see how it comes apart? Look at that. So this is what you want from the pine tree. So if you've got a pine tree you just cut down, or if it's going to be cut and it's spring like now, then you might try harvesting the bark off. I don't know, just a thought. I would. I'd be out there like, give me that bark. Bark. Where's Okay, now these are getting shorter so that every time you have to redo it. I wonder if I could use these big ones. I wonder what that would be like. Let's just see what happens if I did something like that. Like you can start that in the middle. But you've got to take this back far enough to lock it in place. Because you can't lock it there. Because they're both going under. You see? So you have to lock it by bringing it back to there. Okay? And this has got to... But let's do it in the center because this is wide and we don't really want it to have a lot of bends. See how what happens here? So you've got this huge gap here. And if the gaps are too big, your little eggs will fall out. My daughter has these tiny blue eggs. She's really into, hey, I could go back and forth. What if I did that? What if I crisscrossed them? See, that'll fill up that hole. I wonder if I crisscross them everywhere. No, let's just lay them flat beside each other and see what it looks like. You see, I think the problem here is that we need more, we're going to need more rungs. See? So we could go like that. When we put a rim on, our rim will hold everything in place. I don't know. I guess it would work. What did you just say? How do you get this to do anything? Bye, kid. What did I just say? Why do you start one side and then the other? I missed the beginning. Oh, because you're using very thin stuff to start, and so you're kind of making them equal. And then as these get wider apart, then you can move on to something else. I don't like the way this looks. I think it's too thick. And I think this is too thin. I think that this is laying down too fat. I mean, I'm just making it, it's just, look at it, it's not getting any distance. You know, it should be way up to there, right? But they're not laying, oh, sorry. But they're just folding one on top of each other. Well, that's because some of them are on top of each other because they're together. Anyway, we're going to carry on. We'll just do that a little longer. We'll do the other side. I'll dip it in my water. So I tucked it in. Now I'm going to wrap around the other, I'm going to just keep going now. I'll pull tight and that will lock it in place there. See, this is the end. And I pull tight and it locks it in. In between I'll lock it in better. Okay, and so here we go, round and round and round we go. So this is your pastry blender, right? For those of you that are new, that have just had time to get up and go to the bathroom and get yourself something to eat, or you turn on your coffee. I don't drink coffee. And then you can come here and check it out. All right. You know, there's another thing you can do. It's called twining. So when I look at this, it looks just too tight. It just looks like there's a million pieces there. But we'll just carry on. We'll see what happens. We'll just let it go the way it wants to go. You can see how any little scrap is useful, eh? especially when you get into making tiny baskets. You know, I always thought, why would you want to make a tiny basket? Well, you know why I make a tiny basket? Because after a while you just get too many big baskets. But you want to make baskets. I guess you could give them away. You gave everything away for so many years, and I'm not giving it away anymore. I like my stuff. You have to have proof that I have done something on the earth, other than talk. Kind of crummy there. And you know what? Crummy stuff shows up. You can't really hide stuff in a basket. It's all on display. And if you look at those, look at willow baskets, you know, they're made with all the willow is exactly the same size. And it's pretty thick all the way up, or pretty thin, or it's whatever it is, it's smooth. Okay. All right. It needs to be wet there again. It's a little too thick. Okay. So here we go. I'm going to go way back with this one because I don't want it to break. I mean, I don't want it to let go. Now, I wonder about twining. What if you were to twine this? Let me just see what happens. Okay, so we take two of them. Or you take one. Anyway, we'll start with, let's just add another one here to this. Right, so we'll go down in here, lock it in under that, twist it around a bit maybe. But everything shows, remember that. Okay, so with twining, you got two of them. So you bring, one goes to the front, and then it's, oops. And then it's the other one's turn. So it goes to the front. So, and then they are, okay, so this one goes first, and it goes over and under, and then this one goes next. So it's like you're twisting them, but you're not. Well, you are. One, just enough so that the top one is now on the bottom and the bottom's on the top. And you do that between each of these. You see, now look at how much better that is. I think that's the way to do this. Okay, so now one goes this way around the end, and one goes the other way around the end. All right, and then come back, and now the one that was on the, they're taking turns, right? So this is on the bottom, and this is on the top. And then you always have to make sure the one on the top goes into the bottom. See? So that's on the bottom, this is on the top. So now this is on the bottom, and this is on the top. And this is on the bottom, and this is on the top. But when you come around a corner, you don't worry about those things too much anymore. You just get around the corner the best way you possibly can. So this is going down, and this one's going up. So that's down below, and now same twist idea. I know it's really hard to see what I'm doing, isn't it? It's also called, is it pairing or just twining? I think it's twining. That one goes to the bottom, and this one goes to the top. And that one goes to the bottom, and this one goes to the top. Okay, and now when you start to run out, you see, now you take a new one, and the way you work it, I think this might be cedar bark. right, so then the next one, you're going to do the same thing, only you're going to divide it in half. So I think I'm going to use some really long ones now. Okay, so this is longer. This is good. Okay, so we'll continue splitting this. You see it's starting to split. And we have to really be careful because I really want both sides to be good. So I have to make sure this is a little bit thicker, so I'm pulling on it. Oh, it seems like it's better now. Okay, now they're about even. Now I can go together. This is okay. So if we're going to do twining, I guess we should do it narrow, right? So let's just make this nice and narrow. See how it tries to go from one side to the other? It's trying to divide but not all the way through. All right, anyway, so it's not very long. Okay, so now what you do, wherever you ended, you put this in and you just loop it over. Okay, so like that. And then you could start anywhere. You could start at the edge. That might be good. Start at the edge. And it's probably good not to have them the same length, so that one will not run out the same time as the other one. Okay, so you've got them together, so one up, one down. Oh, we're on the other side. Okay, so this is on the bottom, it's on the top. What's happening here? Alright, so bottom, top, and then this is bottom, top. And if you find any other ones that are hanging around there that are just loose, add them in. You know, like take them along with you. And if you start turning them, you see how nice it'll kind of look if you turn each one of them? It'll also help you get around the corners better. Always try and lock in stuff. Whatever's there, just try and lock it in by going over it. Okay, so here you're not going to have enough, right? You're going to run out. So now you add one in. And the best way to add one, of course, would be you could lay it in there flat, and it's going to stay very well because it's being attached everywhere, all the way along. See how you can't really decide ahead of time how you're going to do this because you don't know how everything is going to work out unless you've made it 100 times, which is probably what people do. All right, so here we are again. Now let's just I think I would rather, instead of doing that, I think I would rather take them both to the end of where they'll go, and then I will start a new one. I'll start a new one back, okay? And I'm going to have them end at the same place this time. So the one on the bottom, in. The one on the top goes in. And then the one on the bottom crosses the one on the top, and it goes in. And this one covers up and goes in the other way. And then this one comes out first. This one comes out second. So it goes in here. And this is the one on the bottom now. No, this is on the bottom. How did I do that? Oh, I think I'm supposed to put this one in first. Okay, so that's on the bottom. That's on the top. That's on the bottom. That's on the top. And that's on the bottom, so they change places here. This is on the bottom in the back. And this is on the top in the front. Now this is on the bottom in the back. And this is on the top in the front. And we go again. So we go back this way. That's on the bottom. And that's over the top. And that's on the bottom and that's on the top. Okay, and then we'll get another piece. So this is called pairing. Let me see here. So I wanted to make these kid-friendly videos, but I guess if people are going to be able to respond to you, that does not fall into the requirements of kids, because you don't want some weirdo talking to your kids while they're making a video. Alright, so let's do this one again. You can hear the wind outside, eh? And the sun is shining. Look at that. The sun is coming in. Oh, right. Just a second. This is what I'm looking at. Oops. Isn't this a spectacular room? Okay, so and then we're doing this. Let's get a good look at this now. So, sure looks messy. But it might be all right. Okay, let's turn around. All right, so let's have a look at it now. It's going to be a thick basket. Look at this. It's all just piling up on top of each other. I don't know. What do you think of that? It's pretty difficult doing all this with all this bark that keeps flopping about. Okay, let's cut off some of these pieces so we can see what's going on here. You can tell if it really looks terrible or not. That's a big deal. If it doesn't look terrible, we're good. These want to just undo. These two here, you see that? They just want to undo. So I'm going to twist them over and lock them in, if possible, because they will undo forever. Forever and ever. They'll probably undo anyway. It's probably not going to work. But we're not supposed to think that way. No. Nancy, don't think like that. It's much better if you tighten it. There's so much here. It's just so many. I think it's getting too confusing. I may have to take a break. I guess it's because I had to layer them over each other, right? And it does make it thicker, but the eggs can't fall out, right? And it's pine bark. I mean, after all, how often do you get to have a pine bark basket? You'd think this is too crappy to use. Did I say that? But it's not. Oh my goodness. It tears. It's kind of like flesh. It's really, it's very much like flesh. Pulling off all those bits that are, okay, let's try cutting it. I don't know. Maybe it'll work. Maybe it won't. You know, twining is a really good way when you're using materials that won't stay together. This is very thick. Very, very thick. So now's the time to harvest bark, you know. Look how thick it is. This is going to need a lot of work. But we have time. What else we can do? You have to do something with your time. Might as well do this. Right? That's what I tell myself when I think, it's too much work. Well, you have to do something with your time. You're going to do something anyway. What difference does it make? This has got some really solid bark on it. Are you getting bored? I'm getting bored. This is 78 minutes I've been working on that. So in an hour, that's what you get. So it generally takes 2 hours to make a basket. Now what if I use these big ones? I think that might be very nice to use these big ones. Then I would be almost done. I wonder if I should try using birch bark or something. Then I could do some of these to lock it in place. Remember I was going to put this big strip on there? I wonder if we could do that. Let's try. Let's see what happens. Waste of a good piece of birch bark, but there's a lot of birch trees out there. It's not warm. I have to warm it up. I usually lay it on the wood stove. Okay. Now, what about here? How should we do this? So we want that to be on the outside right there, right? So this will have to be right at the back, right on the end, right? See, I could put it like that. What do you think? That might be nice. And then when the rim is on, the rim will hold this stuff on top in place. Or I was thinking, what if I were to, hey look, I put it over to the side. That's kind of nice. What do you think of that? I don't know. It should go straight. That's the thing. So it should go like that, right? And then I'll fill in the sides there. And so this will have to get cut off here too. And the rim will have to, remember I was going to put the rim on here? So the rim will cover the whole top stuff. One on the inside and one on the outside. Like so. But not like so. Not like that at all. Okay. And what if I put a different one? What if I put another piece of birch bark on the bottom on the other side? Is this the same piece I was using? Where did the other piece go? This is it. That's all that's left. Let's see what happens if we put this up on there. So you can take it out if you don't like it. And put it in, take it out. Put it in, take it out. Doesn't really work. I guess you could tell that. What if I put it on this side so that it was tucked under there to hook on the end too? And then I put it up this way. So you really have to be going backwards and doing it that way again. That's the best way to do it. And then you end up filling in around the edges. But I don't want to do that. I think this is going crappy. But I think I can use the, I'll put it in the center like that. And then I'll work these around it. I'll go back to my cedar bark. It's not prepared well enough, you know. It's important to prepare stuff. This is, see, it's splitting into layers within the layer. Like these two layers are coming apart. So I might as well remove it from the other one, right? Just thin it right there. You can thin it from the end. Doesn't get really fat till right here though. This is already seems to be dividing in there. Now remember, you pull the fat side off of the thin side. try and keep it right in the center as you pull. You keep your fingers as close together. You don't just pull one, no. Because see, it starts to get thin like that. See, it's starting to show through there. But, so you have to pay attention to what you're doing. Of course, the layer disappeared is what happened there. And you carry on and just keep going. This is having a hard time pulling away because there's bark on it. There's too many thicknesses here. I hear cars. Someone's going somewhere. Who could be going somewhere? Okay, here we go again. So. This is really ragged. Look at that. Well, this is some of the edge of the pine bark, you know? You don't get this with cedar bark. You get different. Interesting to work with a new material. Okay, now let's see what we can do here. So once again, we'll cut it in half and we'll twine it. Because twining seems to be working. And then it doesn't matter where you left off because it's all the same. You just have to make sure that with each of these ends, you hold the old end and okay, try and have them even because then they're going to end about the same place and you start another one. Okay, and then you hold that one from the other one and this one from the other one. Okay, so you've picked up your old ones. And then you that one's on the bottom, this is on the top. It's going on the bottom. And I'm going to start flipping them over, like I'm going to work with the, I have to hide that piece there. Okay, so this is going to come over. And this is going to go over. This one goes the other way. Okay, I have to do it this way. So I'm taking from the bottom, I put the top in. Wish I could show it to you properly like this. So the bottom, and then they switch and come out, and then they pull it tight, and then they switch and come out. You got your fingers all over it, you know, when you're weaving, so it's really hard to show people what you're doing because your fingers are so busy in there. I can't show it to you. This is just impossible to hold it that direction and do it too. it's kind of frustrating because it's all floppy. Everything is pieces everywhere. Okay, so you bring the one on the bottom, comes out first. Make sure you tighten everything nice and snug. That comes out. And that's going to go on the bottom on that side. And this is going to come out and it's going to go on the top. Okay, now it's going on the bottom. And that one's going on the top. And one's going on the bottom and the other one's going on the top. Okay, and so that's what we've got now. And so we're building it up, and we're going to come right up against this piece. Okay, this is a bit of a problem here. See what happens there? So we may have to go across the top of the piece. We have to go through it. We'll see what happens when we get there. Okay, so we'll get another one. I don't think it's going to be that one. I think that's too much trouble. Okay. Ah, it's getting too thin. Can't do that. It's wasting it. A lot of people get frustrated doing this. Duh. But when you do something else, when it frustrates you to be weaving with all these little loose ends, then you go back to cutting or something. Or checking on what you sewed, you know. Okay, so there's one big piece. That's a nice long one, eh? The longer the better. Okay? So, I'm going to take this. Okay. So, I hope you can see it. Can you see it well enough? Let's see if I can put this any better. So impossible. Okay. So, here we go. Does that work? Where's our new strip? Is this it? Okay, so we're going to go where we stopped. You see here, this is our last place we were. Pull it tightly. Or were we on this side? I think we were on this side. Yes. Okay, so we'll weave it into where that one was. See, it gets to be a little more difficult once you run out of room. Okay, so now you take those with you. You don't want to leave them around. Okay, so now we could even go back to the one before that because there's more likely that we'll tighten it in better. Alright, so we'll start here at the edge. I like having our corners nice. Okay, and also you're going to need more fill around, well, never mind. Okay, so this one's going to go down and up. Okay, down and up. And you're going to have to cut all those other ones that you've got there hanging around. Yeah, it makes a difference if you see what you're doing, you know, that's important. You should probably not be showing it. You should probably be concentrated on what you're doing so that you make a good, so it looks good, right? So, you see this bottom row? See, that looks much better than those rows. That'll do, I guess. But, well, so what we're doing here, in effect, is we are filling in all the gaps, right? So there are also techniques, like you're going to need to fill in more gaps in some places than in others. So at any point where you feel like you've got to go the other direction, you can twist and go backwards and fill it in again. You know, like if you're getting a little gap left, you just got a little gap, a little triangle area or something. Well, that's the way you deal with that. If I can make it any better here for you. Oh, I don't know. It's really difficult. I need that thing to hold the camera overhead. Okay, so we've got that down there now. And this is our end. So once again, get another one. Oops. I'll fold it in the middle. And we'll come back to here. See how we're close on this side and far away on that side? See, it's not perfect. Not a perfect plan here. Anyway, we're going to go back up to this one. And I wish that you could see. So frustrating not to be able to see, I suppose. I need Willem to make the videos for me, don't I? But he doesn't even make the videos. He doesn't look through the camera. He'll end up looking at me, and then the camera will be facing the floor. He's not really into stuff like that, I guess. Okay, so now we're going back up this way. We're going to go around. Always not. All right, next. Now, a person who makes baskets for a living would never use something ratty. They would use their knife, they would make it all perfect. Now if I do that, I make a little tiny piece. So. Dear, dear, dear. It's because I'm using all this stuff that I was just so thrilled to get any pine bark. I just think pine bark is so neat. Oh, I hear a squirrel running across there. All right. But you know what? I don't really care how other people do it. I don't care if it's worth $500 or if it's worth 10 cents. I guess that's my problem, right? If I cared about those things, I would make better baskets. Or perfect baskets, but nature doesn't provide. I know that's why we people try and tidy it all up, make it be perfect, right? And those native women, they really do a good job. Oh, you're not allowed to call them that anymore? The language is changing too quickly for me. Stop the world, I want to get off. Hey, it stopped. Do you think we could get off now? Hey, that's an interesting concept. Of course, I guess the world has always stopped in some countries. Kind of leveling the playing field, isn't it? Alright, so okay, now we have a piece. Seems like it was longer than that when I started. Whatever. So now we have to finish this stuff up in here. So messy. Messy, 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 messy. So I'll put it on top of the last one that was left. I'll do it exactly on top of it. So I've got both ends here, see? And so and then I'm going to twist the ends around a little bit, maybe too. I need a head cam, but you know, when I had that head camera, even then, I don't know that I actually aimed it properly. But I could make the excuse that I'm old. Would that be good? Yeah, I guess to some people I am old. So weird to be the old people. It's the weirdest thing ever. Does that happen to you yet? You're the old people? You're the grandparents? Like, what? Since when are you grandparents? And when you're young, you think, oh, I'm never going to be a grandparent. That's pretty old. Of course, then you want to be grandparents because then you love hanging out with those grandchildren. Because they got all the life. And you were so used to raising children. Okay, so I'm getting close here. I know. I wish I had a big tripod and you could see everything and it would be so perfect. Okay, how's that? I think it's important during this time of global shutdown that we get into doing stuff that's really creative and interesting and stuff we can't do. I don't think it's a good idea to spend your whole time worrying. I think some people might be doing that. I mean, it seems like a good idea at the time, right? But really, it just wastes your time because you can't change anything by worrying. And I think they should turn off the interest at the banks. I think the banks are making tons of money all the way through this. They're the only ones making money. Well, except the kids that work from home online, right? Which is making a huger class divide, right? So the computer geeks are going to be the ones that have all the money, and well, I guess they always did have more than the rest, but hey, the sun is coming out. Look at that blue balmy clouds. What time is it? Oh, it's 20 after 8. This is smartening up, but you have to be careful of something like that, because if you rip that, it's going to go the wrong way. I want to try taking it off from the other side, like from the other direction. See how thick it got. But if I thin it, it'll wreck it. So we're going to leave it that way. And now you see here, now we're going to, let's work on this other side for a little while. Get things even. One up, one down. One up. This goes in front, behind, in front, behind. The first one comes out. Ah, I see what I did wrong. Okay, so I've got them in like this. So the one on the bottom is going to come up first, and that one's going to go in and out. And then this one's going to go in and out. And this one's going to go over and in and out. Well, you can look at my pretty face. Doesn't help you at all. This goes in and out. This goes over and then in and out. They switch places, and this comes in and out. Oh, hello. What does it say? Patrick and I have been on self-quarantine since this all started. I don't watch the news or TV too much anyway. My son and girlfriend are both psychologists and are working safe at home. Isn't that nice? I started self-quarantining myself long before anything was happening. Like when, first, as soon as I heard that it was in Canada. Oh, I went over 2 here. I made a mistake. Mistake. So this is a mistake then too. In front, behind. What's going on here? Oh, they're not connected to this one. This goes in first, in front, behind. Now this one goes down there. So this is in front, and it's at the bottom, so it's got to go in and out. And this one switches, and then it goes in and out. I flipped it over. Did you notice that? Right there, so it lays flat. In and out. This one goes in, that one comes out. Oops, wait. What's going on? This goes down in. In and out. And this flips over and goes. Gotta always always be watching which way things are going. Alright, so this is over. This goes down here. Down and up. This goes down and up. And here we are at the end again. Here we go. This goes down. This has got to come out first. And this has got to go down behind that one. And then this is going to go over here and out. And then what we've got now, this is over. Cut down and out. How did that go? This goes over. Oh, I see. It's supposed to come under. This goes over and under. This goes over and under. I'm sorry. How can I ever do this properly and show you at the same time? Over and under. Okay, we'll get another piece. Can I have a break? I'm gonna get break time. Alright, I think it's break time. We'll have to come back and make another video about this. That'll be part 2. Wouldn't that be fun to have a part 2? Part 1 and part 2. Okay, and then, here we go again. We catch them together. The one on the bottom comes out and goes on the top. And grab that one that's in the way. I know. Okay, so one comes out the bottom and you grab the other things that are left over. This one goes in and comes out on the bottom. And then this one goes in and comes out on the bottom. And this one goes in and comes out on the bottom. And it goes all the way through and comes in and out on the other side. In and out on the bottom. Oh wait. This goes, oh this comes out. And this goes in and out. Okay, and then another one. Oh, the sun is coming in. I washed some of these windows. It's pretty hard to wash them on the outside. Uh-oh, this is breaking into 3 pieces. Make sure this is thick enough on this side. Let me make sure this is, we'll just leave that. This is not very good here though, it's going to break. See, the problem is that I don't have an unlimited supply of this. Right? If I had an unlimited supply, well, all kinds of stuff away. I suppose if you buy it, is it already prepared? Or do you have to prepare it yourself? I don't know, I never bought it. Ah, now they're all short. Oh, no, now we've got short ones again. We'll just carry on. Carry on, carry on, carry on. And we'll take those two that are left, and one comes out, we'll go to this side, and one on the inside, we'll go to that side. Twist them over, one goes there and out. So, have you got your garden planted? Are you going to garden this year? Canada, they told us to plant gardens because we cannot guarantee our food supply. I guess this little glitch that happened with the U.S. the other day where they were going to not send the masks, or they were already on the way, but we're going to not send them. And I understand the U.S.'s idea about that, but anyway, so Canada then is now, we're kind of making sure we got enough food, like growing our own food. Everybody in the world should grow your own food. It's really silly not to grow your own food. How awful. All these people that can't get food because it's the grocery stores, you know. Grow your food, grow your food. So this is supposed to go. You can't get seeds of plants to plant since I'm not going anywhere? Yes, well, that's when you have to shop online, I guess. Or you phone your neighbors and you ask anybody if they bought extra seeds. Probably buy them online, right? I don't know. I would like to think that you can buy them online. This is over. This is under. This is. I can't keep these going right way. I usually have a large yard. Never thought about it online. Ah, yes, good idea. Good idea. I don't shop online very well. I guess it's because I don't want to pay. I don't want to pay all that shipping. We always used to order our seeds. William Dam. They had the best seeds. Has anybody ever had Three Kings peas? Those peas grow so well. So my in-laws, they were market gardeners in England, and I'm very confused. Almost done, but we actually have to do a lot more. We have to do that whole top. Front, behind. In front. Over. How does this go? It's so hard to do this backwards. Maybe we should just look at each other. Hello. How's life? So, what are you going to accomplish today? Have you got a plan? I'm making a basket. Mention that. And yesterday I worked on my rush rug. Imagine getting something useful done. So that's in front, behind, in front. In front, behind, in front. In front. Now we ran out again. We're making a lot of small pieces left. Look, there's a piece. Ha-ha! Okay. This didn't work here. Nothing here is looking quite right. So this and this comes in front. And this goes in back. Okay, let's hold them all together, Nancy. And this goes in back. And in front. And this goes. There's so many ends, so many pieces, so many ends. So this is coming up. Oh, you're going to do pyrography. Wow. I've been doing pyrography. I got to show it to you. Where is it? I got one gourd here. But where's the one I was working? Oh, here it is. Right here. See, I got this. Give myself an idea. So I got that, and I got this, and I used a. I'm no good at it. I mean, like I have no idea what to do with this. All these perfect things that people have made. Anyway, when I was doing pyrography, I was using my father's. You're gonna laugh. It's got a handle on it. It looks like an iron, a soldering iron. It's an old kind. It looks like this. It looks like a drill, you know. It's got this big old thing, and you touch it anyway. I had one. My daughter-in-law, I mean, just gave me one, and I don't know where I did with it. Over. So this is in the front. So this is gonna end up in the back. What have we got here? Behind. Ah, see, things have come apart. So those come together. I think we're gonna have to twist it. Those are together, and those are together. Okay. And this goes over that and comes out after this one. See, I've got a longer distance now between these. You can hear that wind, eh? It's nice to have the door open, the window open. You get to have the windows open. Over and under and out. Over and under and out. So we made 2 entire over numbers before I needed another piece. It's coming along, and it's a pretty tight basket. We're just using a whole lot of bark. Why did that come out so nicely, and everything else was so much work? Okay. So now we got to get them together with the last ones again. So much work. Where do I come up with these ideas? Okay. So here we go. We got this one and this one. I can never figure out which one is which one. Okay, so those 2 are together, and these 2 are together. Put them halfway. I'm going to hold that together. I'm going to hold this together. Now you even have one from the 2 times before. Grief. So I'm going to put this under here. I think I should have gone back another one. Yeah, maybe it would be good to now not put them all together at the same place. These are too short to be... No, I can't do that because I really haven't got many. Okay, so... Okay, so now this can go in there and out. getting closer. You see how we're closing in on it. So we're really getting close. Those come from underneath. Why is this one out there and going from underneath? This goes from the top. So I think I'll end up going over the top of this bark a little bit on the edges. Hold it in place a little better. Alright, we're going to come back to this and we're going to do the rim. I'm going to finish this up and then we'll do the rim together, okay? So it's going to be my daughter's egg basket for her tiny little chicken eggs. Isn't that cute? She likes little things. She's really into the little. She's always been very into little. You know, I think this is going to work. I think it's going to work. I could push it right against that, you see, and then this side is all finished. So I'll just push it right like that, and that side is all done. And then over here, I wonder if I could use another piece of birch bark. Wouldn't that be pretty? Or I could use a piece of this. That would look kind of nice too, isn't it? Except it's rotten. Nah, can't use that piece. Too bad, because it would look perfect, wouldn't it? Maybe I could cut that part off. Nope. Not gonna work. How about some of this? Okay, I'm gonna go. Goodbye. Nice visiting with you, everybody. Did I miss anything? Anybody say anything I didn't see? Oh, hi, Kayla. So, I'm lucky to catch you live. Good morning. Good morning. I only made a few gourds in the past. One has a tree frog that I used watercolor pencils on after I burned it. The other has a bunch of grapes. Wow, that's really cool. Hi, E-Hook. Is that, I'm going to go over here and see what you said. So, yeah, order your seeds online. I think that's so cool that you're doing pyrography. I should watch and see how to do it right properly, because, you know, I think it makes a difference if you have the right tools. The tools are always the big deal, aren't they? Did you just say something else? No. E-Hook. I forget your name. Something starts with a G. Hook. Forget. Okay, so I'll be back. And I'll finish this. Or maybe I'll just finish it now. You can go if you want, or you can stay if you want. If I do it, we could take it over to her. Wouldn't that be nice? I think she'll be excited. Maybe, maybe not. Probably. All right. Over, under, and out. Okay, over, under, and out. Over, under, and out. Over, under, or out. This way. Over, under, under. It takes so much stuff and I'm not making much progress at all. Getting there. All right. I'm surprised you guys stick with me, you know, because I'm really terrible video. Let's take this. This is a thick one. Let's see what we can do with this. I really need something nice in here. That's all right. We'll just cut it. We're good at cutting things, making good pieces smaller and smaller and smaller until they're no good. I'm going to put this in, I'm just going to put it in flat and see what happens. So I'm not pairing anymore, I'm just going back and forth. I looped it so it'll hold on. And you don't have enough weavers, or don't have enough stakes. I think I should add stakes. Maybe I could do that. Maybe I could put some stakes through. What would I use for stakes? Ha. Well, I have some of this. Fresh bark. I could do that. I could put it in, I think I could just put it in under there. And it's this one right here is the problem. Maybe I should just pinch them closer. So everything up that's in there. Okay, so look, we have a nice piece of something here. I'm going to do something different here. I'm going to take this, I'm going to put them in like that. I'm at one side of this piece of birch bark, and I'm just going to twist them around. I'm going to go across to the other side of the birch bark. I'm going to come out. There. So I'm just over, under, over, under. Just tighten that right up in there. I'm wrapping up some of these ends that were hanging out everywhere. It would be nice to hang out with somebody making a basket, wouldn't it? I guess that's why people go to workshops. They can hang out with other people making a basket. Alright, so now I'm going to come back over there again. Oh, I'm going to go the other direction. That's right. Over on the back. I'm going to come under here, make it look like it's there. So I have one on the inside and one on the outside. I think I'm going to go to the other side with it now. And lace it in place like that. You think that's okay? This way. I'm just going to finish up this little end here first. See, like that? And then that's all nicely done. Alright, let's go back to this side. And then we'll come down here. And we'll go in and out. Can. Okay. There, how's that? Okay, let's carry on. I see we have some more stuff to fill in up here. But we filled it in down there. Pine bark and birch bark. That's pretty kind. Pretty cool. Came off a tree. I saw another pile of logs there on that same spot. I wonder if it is the same logs or if they're new ones. If they're new ones, I wonder if I could get some more birch, some more bark. Let's see if we can fill this in here. No, it's too dry. Oh, here's a big one. Okay, so we'll go this way here. So when you're trying to fill it in, you go back and forth and until you get it filled in the way you like it. I think this is a piece of cedar bark because it's all different. Okay, how's that? Okay. Okay, so this is a piece of cedar bark, but oh no, I just broke it. No, let's put it in the water. Let's see if we can work on it. Splash. All right, gotta take a break. My back hurts. Okay, see you later. Nice doing it, eh? Bye. And